But yeah, so this Southeast Asian town was just named the most affordable destination for digital nomads. So that one right there, any idea?
Bali.
Yeah, Bali's one of them, you know, but the cost is going up, right? Like what used to be a very affordable place, you go to Bali now and you might be able to find a room, not a place, a room for maybe 700, 800 a month. Yeah, it's changing quite a bit. Europe adds Moldova as one of its digital nomad visa destinations, and they're just adding more, right? Like Europe is really on top of this stuff because they realize as a nomad, you bring in not only money to the economy, but you bring your knowledge right into the community. And as you start to have that effect, you start to have a bigger effect on the kind of things you can bring on. Some of these nomads will hire people in those regions and say, hey, I love working with you, can we keep in contact, right? So the bottom one right there, I read, which was very interesting, and that is most Americans suffer from time poverty, right? If you have a corporate job, if you have some type of office job, many people go in and they don't take any of their vacation time, right? They don't take any of their PTO, they don't take any of that stuff because they feel like if they take it, it makes them look bad and lazy for their boss or manager. And all of a sudden they're just like, if I don't do that, I'm gonna get fired, or they're not gonna look at me for next promotions. And so they end up not using that time, so they end up getting stressed out because they go home and they're still doing more work, right? As I always tell people, like, hey, you're gonna work with me, I'm not free, you're gonna pay for all my time, and that's it, right? If you're not paying me for my time, why should I work? You know, period. So that's coming up more because in the article it stated, when people fall into this situation, their creativity, their innovation just completely plummets, right? As a nomad, what happens to your creativity and innovation? It skyrockets because you're in new places all the time. You're experiencing new cultures, new people, new foods, new opportunities. So all of a sudden your mind is thinking in new ways all the time, right? You're not in a routine. So. But yeah, so those are some of those that I thought I'd mention because it's important to know. All right, little digital nomad humor. It's a problem. So, and I've met people where they're just like, they've traveled so much, they're just like, yeah, I need to like find a nice place to relax. I'm like, you're already in the Maldives. What do you mean you need to relax? So, alrighty, so let's get into it. Culture shock therapy. So, my first culture shock moment, right? Does anybody have a moment where you were in a country and that culture shock kind of hit you a little harder than you expected? Anybody have a story? Maybe you're in Tokyo, maybe you're in Madrid, you know, Istanbul. So for many people it is hard, right? Like if you go out for a long time, what happens when you're gone for too long? What do you get the opposite of? Reverse culture shock. Has anybody experienced that? Where you come back to the US that you grew up in and you're like, wait, I did this? What? I eat like this every day. What do you mean these burgers are so big, right? So you go out and then you go into Tokyo and all of a sudden you realize like habits are different, right? Like everybody uses 7-Eleven for everything, right? And here you come in, you're like, why would I go to 7-Eleven? Like for a slushie? No, I don't know. But there, 7-Eleven is like the hangout joint. It's the place, right? Whereas if you go into the Thailand area, where it's like community and culture and all that kind of stuff, it's very different. So adjusting can feel like you're the outsider. So what happens when you feel like the outsider? Well, all of a sudden you feel like I can't get work done, I don't know anybody, I don't have any opportunities. And I've read another story where somebody wanted to be a digital nomad. They were from the UK and they thought, you know what, I saved up enough money, I'm gonna go to Bali and I'm gonna try this, right? And they're like, I wanna be a freelance writer. Well, it turns out they were an introvert. They didn't really know how to talk to people. They didn't know how to get jobs. And they were already running out of money, right? And so mom came into the picture and they're just like, hey, let's meet up. And all of a sudden that comfort of being at home with mom kind of made them realize like, I'm not cut out for this, right? Nomad lifestyle is kind of hard, right? And that was a culture shock moment for them to realize like, hey, I enjoy traveling, but I also enjoy realizing like I'm a homebody, you know. So I'm not a homebody, but I couldn't do that. So I can't get them. But why does it matter, right? Like you go out there, what happens if you go to a networking event every night instead of going home and watching Love Island? What happens?
You meet people.
You meet people. What else happens? Opportunities come, right? You meet opportunities that all of a sudden like would not have happened if you just stayed home and finished that episode, right? You meet that person, you have dinner, and all of a sudden you realize like I went home, I met 5 new people. This person wants me to work with them on this. That person has an idea for this, and your network grows, right? And now you start to realize like, man, this is way better than sitting in a 9-to-5 job where the only people I'm going to meet are the ones around me. And if you get fired, what happens to your network? It's gone. It's gone. That's it, right? But you as a nomad, you build that personal network yourself. It's always going to be there, right? And that's it. So, who has traveled as a nomad? Okay, all right, half, a quarter, okay, all right. Inspiring people, right? So, we have the 4 stages, right? I don't know how many of y'all been through the 4 stages, but you get there and you're like, man, this is so much fun, this is awesome, I love it, it's great, the food is amazing, the people are great. And then you realize bills are due, and then you have to start working, and you get clients, and you have to go back to the cafe and sit down and start grinding it out and figure out like, what the hell am I doing? And this isn't so much fun anymore, and the beach is horrible, and the sand gets my feet, and I realized like laptops don't belong on the beach because sand gets everywhere. And you start to find out there's frustration, right? Because you're not getting the clients you thought you were going to get. Nobody's paying attention to you. Your YouTube channel's not going anywhere. Everything on Instagram is getting banned, and you find out like, why am I here, right? So then you get into an adjustment period, and you start to figure out like, okay, I need to figure out how I'm going to change this. And you start to find out like, okay, maybe I should start emailing people and reaching out and doing all these things. And then it hits you, why didn't I do this before I went and started traveling, right? Build your network before you start to get out there so you have things waiting for you, right? So you avoid that frustration. And then you start to accept the fact that like, hey, not everything's perfect. My life at home was different, but I got to figure out a routine that I'm going to get into that I can start to grind things out and make it happen, right? I know a lot of young guys who have no money in the bank, and they said, I have $500 to my name, I need to go to Bali. I need to go to Bali. I'm like, yes, that's a great idea. So this one guy went straight to Bali, and he was like 19. He gets there, has almost no money, and he figured, I'm going to work my way into a room situation, and I'm going to pay for it by teaching people the skills that I grew up with, right? How to use a computer, how to use this, all these things. So he went to different communities around the place and said, hey, whatever you can afford to pay me, give me that, and I will teach you how to do this, right? So then he started going around to other places and said, hey, are you needing any speakers on any topics? I will come speak about this, right? So why do you think he did that? To give himself a speaking resume, right? So now he has a speaking resume, now he has some experience, right? So now he took that, he built that into a website that looked like a 7th grader made it, and then he started emailing all these people, it really looked bad. And then he started emailing all these people everywhere and saying, hey, I will come speak on these topics, are you looking for a speaker, and here's my speaking fee. And out of all those emails that he sent out, he started getting jobs. And he would sit in the cafe every day and he'd grind it out. So what do you think happened to his life 7 months later? He was a professional speaker. And he was making 6 figures. And he wasn't even 20 years old. Did his website suck? Yes. It was awful. But you know what? He grinded out, he understood what he was good at doing and making the connections and doing all those things, right? So he got out there and he built everything. And I know this because I watched a lot of his YouTube videos for a while. And there were videos out there that were a little cringeworthy, I won't lie. And it showed like he was struggling. And then it showed the good days, the bad days. And then you started to realize that, hey, it works, right? There was another video, or actually a podcast that was done here at Capital Factory about a guy who, when he was 18 years old, rather than going out with his friends and getting drunk and all this stuff, he would sit in his room and hit the Gmail limit every Friday night. What's the Gmail limit of emails you can send a day? Really? We're not hitting the limit?
100?
That's 100.
Is that low?
I know, right? So, that's for the free account. So he would sit there and he would email every person he could find on LinkedIn that had a CEO title, a COO title, VP title, anything, and all he asked for was this: can you please give me 15 minutes of your time to tell me, how did you get to where you are? I'm 18 years old and I want to know, what should I do to get to your level? And what do you think happened?
They agreed, some of them agreed.
Yeah.
3%, I guess, something like that.
Exactly, right? He still managed to start having those connections that came in, and before you know it, all his LinkedIn connections were VPs and executives and all these things. So the job opportunities he was getting were all C-suite opportunities, right? And so he wasn't looking for a job. He built his own network around the opportunities that happen in the C-suite world, right? Most people don't even know what goes on in the C-suite world because everybody's worried about just a job, right? And when you get to that level, your opportunities are very different. So his world turned into, I'm gonna go interview these people and find out what they do, and I'm gonna make a blog about it and a YouTube video, right? And that's what he did, right? So your impact is on your work and your life, and because of that, you have all kinds of things, right? Like it's gonna affect your time zone issues, right? Obviously, you gotta work with different people around the world. But that's why you can get on a charter jet and fly over to where you need to be if the client needs you to be there. Are you paying for that charter jet? No, your client is. If they're not going to pay for it, then that's okay. You can find another client, right? But you build friendships, and you have all kinds of communities waiting for you. Who knows traveling with Kristen? So traveling with Kristen, okay, yeah. So basically, she's not Taylor Swift, right? She's not a big name, but you know what happens anytime she tweets that I will be in a city? 300 people show up to her events. Every time. Because she's traveled so much and lived in so many places and made so many YouTube videos about her journey and where she's been, that she's had a massive impact on so many people's lives, right? Her whole YouTube channel is about how to be a nomad. So when she goes to a different city, she has friends waiting. So mindset and adaptability, right? Like your culture shock, in my opinion, is your opportunity. Go find out, like, hey, why do I feel out of place? You know, what is it that I can learn from this that can benefit me, right? Who here saw the movie Gun Home? If you say yes, I will be shocked. Nobody saw Gun Home? Michael Keaton, 1986. So basically, he was this guy that worked in a manufacturing plant for cars, right? And the company was doing terrible. And his management basically said, hey, we need you to go to Japan and figure out what the hell they're doing that makes them so successful. So Americans tend to be, lazy, right? And he goes over there to Japan in the movie, and he gets to the auto plant, and every morning, all the employees show up happy. And what do you think they do first thing in the morning? Exercises. They start doing their exercises, and they do it as a group and a community, right? And they start working together, and he starts looking at all this stuff. And one of the guys who talks to him is like, I'm the manager that runs this part of the program. And he's like, why are they happy? Why are they doing exercises at work? And he's like, well, that's part of the family. That's our culture, right? That's how we grow up. And it just blew his mind, right? So all of a sudden, he started spending more time with them. And he's like, yeah, afterwards, we go and have fun after work, right? We do everything together as a community. And he started to realize when he goes home, everybody wants to get out of there as soon as possible, right? Nobody's happy, nobody's enjoying themselves, it's a job. He said that those people, that's their life, they love it, right? And he realized there's a culture difference there. And that his job was to figure out, how do I bring that culture to here? It's a great movie, I can't believe y'all never seen it. My gosh, so much fun to watch. I think he had done Beetlejuice before that, But that's how I kind of look at it, right? Like your mind shift determines your curiosity, which determines your judgment, which eventually turns into, why do they do it this way? And how do you turn that into, what can I learn from this, right? How many people have you met where you go into a different country and they talk to you and they're like, you're an American? It's like, oh my gosh, how do you deal with this and how do you deal with that, right? And you're just like, what do you mean? Like, that's just how our cars are. They're just big and noisy and loud and everything, I have friends who lived in Eastern Europe when I lived in DC, and they're just like, your cars are massive here. Like you could put an entire family inside this thing. I'm like, how big is your car? It's like, it's enough to get me where I need to be. I'm like, what does that mean? But yes, to them, it was like our lifestyle was just overabundance. It was just too much, you know? And they found it snooty, annoying, and overbearing. And I said, so if I go to your country, I can fit 6 people in your car? Oh yes, and the back. I'm like, but you just said your cars are small. He's like, oh, it's not comfortable. So, but again, you reframe the moment, right? Like, how do you make this into an opportunity? That's how you kind of have to look at culture. Because I've met people who are just like, I can't go over there because the people are weird. I'm like, okay, so, right? I'm sure people think we're weird, like we eat barbecue and steak and burgers every day. Any comments or? Alright, let's keep going. So, business etiquette. How many of y'all have seen the Japanese tradition of you do business with us, we do what? You go out and drink. You get to know who you're working with, right? Karaoke, drinking, that's all part of the culture. I met a person who, he worked for a corporation in Japan, and he said he had to get out of it, because he's like, every time they would meet a new client they were gonna work with, they would go and get drunk. They would go party, they would drink, and do karaoke and sing. And he's like, because we built relationships that way. That's how everything, he's like, but the drinking got bad. He's like, I couldn't do that anymore. I was already in my 40s, couldn't handle it. But that's their culture, right? Like, you want to do business with us, we want to do business with you, let's get to know each other. Americans are very transactional. It's like, you're gonna work with me, here's a contract, sign this, go home, we're done. Right? And that's why so many lawsuits happen, because there's so much confusion, there's so much mistrust. Right? In Japan, you have very little of that happening over there, because they built those relationships. So, obviously, introductions, right? Foreigners know an American when they come into a room and they're loud. Right? And they're like, oh, he's American. Like, just look at the way he sits, he left his drink over there, no coaster, he left his, it's a mess, right? Communication styles, Americans are very direct, you know, what do you do, how much is it, and when can we start, right? And other cultures, it's, hold on, let's sit down, who's your family, this is my family, and Americans are like, no, I can't do this, this is too slow, right? And what do you think happens there? Well, you lose clients, you lose business, you lose all kinds of things, and then you find out why there's so much bickering. Like, and then you go back to your boss and like, did you close the deal? No, they wanted me to meet the dog. Right? So then it comes down to flexibility, punctuality, those kinds of things, right? It turns into, well, you know, am I on a deadline here? Like, am I trying to close the deal? Like, what's happening? And you start to realize, like, some of the stuff you were taught in business school here, if you went to business school, you know, it doesn't always translate to anything else around the world, right? You may go to China, you may go to Brazil, you may go to Indonesia, and you start to find out your business etiquettes are very different. When I was learning international business in DC, oh my gosh, the number of classes we would have to take on business etiquette around the world was a lot. They would bring in delegates from different countries, and we would sit down and like, hey, this is how we do business in this country. This is how we do business. This is how we have dinner. This is how we do this. It was a lot. Was it good food? Oh yeah, I love the food, you know, but there's a lot of etiquette rules that you have to follow, you know. And if you don't follow those rules, like, they look at it as like, oh, he's not serious, you know. So who here has seen the checklist of top 5 universal respect signals? I know Japan is big on that. China is big on that. Right? Any other place that isn't so big on that?
Italy.
Oh, really?
Is not.
No. Okay, do you have an example?
I mean, so Italians, with Italians doesn't really matter.
Sure.
There's like a 20-minute, 30-minute delay. It's pretty chilled out. So, and they know about themselves, and,
Sure.
they're fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're very fine with it.
Yeah.
You know. How long did dinners last again?
Yeah, exactly. I think you have to also get used to the schedule, right? So there's a siesta after lunch and so on. And for example, when I was in Japan, we had a specific, because I was like the official delegation, we had a workshop for exchanging business cards with
Right.
local people, right? So
Yeah.
when you have an introduction with a Japanese business partner, you play like a little game of, that you should always try to give them the business cards from the under, because
Yeah.
so you don't show dominance. So it's interesting.
Absolutely. And that's why over in Japan, when a lower subordinate gets in trouble, they come and they bow, and they really bow low, to show like the hierarchy structure, right? Most Americans, I think our egos would prevent that, so. But it's interesting because when you do read a lot of like these like autobiographies of people, you start to realize like many of them who dealt with Japanese, Asian tradition, business culture over there, they struggled with that, right? And I remember one team that I read about that bought a major studio. They were very American, and the team they were working with was very traditional in how they did business. And eventually that relationship just broke down and it just fell apart. Because the Americans were very demanding of the Japanese, and the Japanese were just like, how come you don't respect any of our traditions and our cultures? And the guy who set everything up studied that. And he built everything out of respect for them. And when it was handed off, they just felt insulted, So, but yeah, I mean, just look at these kinds of things. But now we have AI to sort of guide us in that stuff, right? Like how many of y'all have sort of recorded yourself and say, hey, I'm about to go work with somebody in this culture. This is how I would approach the situation. Can you coach me on what I should know, right? The AI can do that now, right? Like it can watch what you're doing, it can understand, and it can give you guidance. So anybody have a story of a culture situation where you benefited from it? It's okay if you don't. I mean, like, I don't know how many countries we've been to, 52, 76. So. All right, next one. So personal adaptation lifestyle, right? So again, you're traveling, right? It's a lifestyle, it's not your job, but it is part of what you're doing, right? So you're building friendships, you're building connections, but it's also part of your work. And that's something that people who are not used to doing this tend to mix things up, right? Like here, you go home and you realize that's your personal life, everything's supposed to be separate, right? As a nomad, it's sort of a blend of, when do you work, when do you kind of live your life, So you're gonna be part of online communities. If you haven't already joined some online digital communities, definitely go check them out. Like Reddit has a big digital nomad program, right? Nomad List has a Slack community, right? Telegram has a lot of digital nomad communities. And I share this with you because, I don't know if you know this, but like if you join some of these communities and say like, hey, I'm gonna be going to this city in like 3 weeks, does anybody have any recommendations where I should go? Hey, you can stay with me, I'll show you around. Like, hey, I know a great place you should go check out, right? Hey, Paul has this amazing cafe he just opened, like go talk to him, right? Take advantage of that stuff, because you'd be surprised how many people will open their door to you, and if you're an honest, trustworthy person, you will have an amazing time, right? Does anybody know Esperanto? The language?
Like, no one speaks Esperanto.
But you do know it's on Duolingo now, right?
Of course it is.
So to give you backstory on that language, it's a native language, right? And if you learn the language, it's mostly Pig Latin, you can stay with people around the world for free as part of the community guidance. And so if you speak the language and say like, hey, I'm coming into this community, who speaks Esperanto? And somebody's like, hey, I speak Esperanto, great, can I come stay with you? It's like, yes, absolutely, It's somehow part of that community, and you can look it up. It's a really interesting thing when I discovered it. And if you don't know it, go on Duolingo and select Esperanto. But it is a made-up language, by the way, so, yes.
I mean, aren't all languages made up at some level.
Oh, I'm sure they are, you know, even Klingon, right? You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, daily life hacks, right? Like, if you've ever gone to a new place, what should be the first things you start to do? Where are my grocery stores, and where should I get this, and where's the pharmacy, and where should I go? Right, like, we all have our places here that we go to on a regular basis, we just don't think about it anymore. But when you go to a new place, you kind of have to map things out, right? So, anybody here who's digital nomad insurance, if you've ever used like Safety Link, when you get to a new place, you call them up and say, hey, I just got to this city, where's my hospitals, where's my pharmacies, where's my quick checkup places, and they will email you a map of all that stuff, right? And that's part of your insurance package. In fact, it's way cheaper than it is for American insurance, go figure. And you get 100 times better quality, right, in care. And that's how much they care about digital nomads, right? Because you have a map, you know like where everything's at, and you know where to go. Housing, right? Like, do you want to find a short-term rental or a co-living space? For people who are young, I always tell people go travel. Like, go travel when you're young because that's when you can actually do it. Why? You have no money. But you're healthy enough to be able to handle those hikes, those adventures, those trips, those random, like, let's go somewhere at 2 a.m. because we're poor and we have nothing to do and somebody will take us in. When you're older, guess what? You don't have that freedom as much because your body has more health issues. It's ironic that people who retire have the money to go travel, but their health issues prevent them from doing that. Whereas the 20-year-olds have no money and they can't do that because they're poor and broke. Which is amazing because there's a series I would like to introduce you to. Who here knows free world trips? Nobody? What's going on here? Oh my god, this is crazy. Alright, let me see if I can find it real quick. So, these guys right here, in fact, please go home and like just watch this until the very end. Okay? So these are two young guys who said, hey, I'm gonna, where is it? Yes, the Free World Trip series. And let me see if I can find episode 1. We'll just play a little bit. Where's the sound?
Classic.
Why is there no sound?
Classic projector problems.
Probably. Let me see the volume is. That's great.
Oh, that's a few tabs.
No, it's not enough. Anyways, so basically what happened here is these two young guys said, hey, we want to travel the world, we have no money, we're broke, and we want to see how far we can get to all 7 continents. Right? So they made a whole series of videos showing their whole experience of how they did it. The interesting part about this whole thing is that, one, you realize you don't need money to travel. And that's the thing that's why I teach this program, right? I enjoy teaching this more than I do my other class, just because this is like, you see communities that you would really have no other reason to see a community. Because these guys show you like, you don't necessarily need money, you just need grit, perseverance, and be risk-taking, right? Because of that, the opportunities that came their way were amazing, right? If they had just stayed in their bubble, and been like, hey, we're just gonna be, 20-something years old working dead-end jobs, and we're gonna just pay our bills, I guarantee you, they would have not had the opportunities that these guys had. And so they sat down and figured out a plan and said, hey, we wanna go and figure out how are we gonna do this. The dynamic though is what I paid attention to, and that is if you're by yourself, I don't think anybody can really do what they do, even though there are videos of people doing it. What makes this series different is that there are two guys who are young that can travel. The comments, otherwise tell you a different story. The comments, I studied a lot. I read a ton of the comments. What do you think I found in those comments?
Recommendations?
Nope. This is the one. As a girl, I really want to do this, but I'm afraid I could never be this comfortable with strangers. Watching this video made me very happy for you, but I felt a bit sad knowing I can't feel the same way you did. In fact, there's a lot of girls who have commented, crying, knowing that they can never travel like this because they're a girl. which is sad, right? When you're a guy and you're young, the world is a very different place. When you're a young girl and you're by yourself, the world is a very scary place, right? Especially if you're traveling in different areas. And reading this was very eye-opening, right? So that's the part, like, as a girl in my society, watching this breaks me down, because I know living a life like this is something impossible. But I felt so happy watching this and how you guys are doing great, real friendships, real joy, and how there's so much kindness around you. This is a series that has exploded in a lot, right? Like, they started off with like less than 2,000 subscribers, and now they're over what, 286 or 83? And they've got millions of views, and they've been endorsed by Yes3, right? So they're doing great. But it shows you don't need a lot of money to travel, right? And that's the part that many people really don't get, right? Like, they just think, like, to travel you need money, you need to stay in a nice hotel, all these kinds of things, and that's how it works, right? That's the jet setter life, right? Like, unless you're trying to get to Dubai, just, travel for fun. So what's one thing you find hardest to adapt to in a new country? Do you think it would be transportation, housing? You think you can negotiate a lease in Japan? If you don't know Japanese? Okay, how can we fix that? Because there's a technology that allows you to do that now.
I give them the new AirPods.
Oh, jeez. You don't give them the AirPods. You put on the AirPods, and they have their own AirPods. And it does instant translation.
I know.
See? So what does that mean now? You're not limited by language anymore to do business.
But you don't know the negotiation standards of the other culture.
And you can't ask AI to help you.
Sure you can, but it's not going to be as intuitive, right? But so
Exactly.
like
And it doesn't stop you from watching a YouTube video or reading a book or anything like that. You know?
Double more, but it's all doable now, it feels like.
See, it's doable now. The problem is most people don't put the effort in. And that's what I've learned as well. It's like sometimes they will just like, I'll just wing it. I'm like, yep, because nothing goes wrong there. You know? But yes, the new AirPods have instant translations now, right? So I don't know how many languages they're up to, but yeah. I think for many it would probably be food and housing that would probably get most people like in trouble, because negotiating a lease in a new language.
Yeah.
Practical tools and strategies, right? So cultural intelligence, awareness, right? Knowledge, strategy, action. These are some things that we don't think about as Americans. Why? What are we talking about traveling? Anybody want to take a crack at it? As an American, you're taught what about travel? You go out for 2 weeks and you come back. Right? So when you're out for 2 weeks, how do you view the world?
Through your American lens.
Through your American lens. They're like, hey, they will serve me, they will make me feel comfortable, and I will enjoy their culture for my 2 days that are here. And then I will go back to my big house and my big truck and my big dog, and that's it. Right? But when you live the lifestyle and you are there as a nomad, what happens? You integrate with people, right? They become part of your community. You know, they're not there to serve you. So journaling, like I would definitely say turn journaling into a YouTube video or a YouTube channel or like a TikTok thing, right? Why do I say that? You gotta build an audience. You have to build an audience today, because if you don't build an audience, I guarantee you in 5-10 years, you are going to 100% regret it. The cost of living for the US is skyrocketing so fast that it's unreal. And if you don't have like 3, 4, 5 sources of income coming in, I don't know what you're gonna do, right? I'm watching too many teenagers right now make so much money with AI. And they're moving so fast, right? There was an article that came out in the New York Times about all the young guys, yes, guys, very few girls, who are going to San Francisco and launching AI companies. And they're raising hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're moving super fast, right? But they're also using social media as they're doing it. Why? Because if their company goes down, what do they still have? They have an audience,
Do you have any experience with hiring, I don't know, like virtual assistants or any support for that content side of things?
I do,
Any
yeah.
tips? Because I also heard many people saying that it didn't really work out, that they gave it like a 3 months try with that remote person and that it wasn't really the best outcome. So I guess it's about how you set it up and how you structure it.
So the reason why you're gonna hear a lot of bad stories is because most of the time people will go into Upworks, right? And they'll be like, oh, it says they're a social media expert. I'm gonna hire them, and what does it say, $5 an hour? Perfect, I'll buy that, right? So they click buy, and then they're like, okay, great, here's all my social media, go do my social media. What do you think's gonna happen? They're not gonna do their job. The American's gonna get mad because they said, no, your resume said you do social media, why don't I have 10,000 followers? Right? So let me ask you this. If you start a new job and your manager says, hey, you are a financial analyst, here's my financial reports, do your job. What are you gonna say? You haven't trained me. You haven't told me what to do with this yet. And that's why most people who hire VAs, they mess up, because they don't give them an SOP. Hey, this is how I do my social media, this is how I run my social media, this is what I do. Here's the SOP to run my social media. It's 30 pages. It explains everything about each different channel, what content I'm looking for, what times I post, how to do it. What do you think is going to happen after that? They're going to follow the instructions and they're going to do it. That's it. Just like you, in your job, you want to know, how do I do my job? That's all they're looking for, right? Most people don't do that. They just get mad because, oh, I don't have 30,000 followers. You said you grow social media channels. I don't see anything, so you're fired. And the person on the other end is like, but you haven't told me what to do. I don't know what you're trying to do. It's like developers. I've met so many people here who hire developers around the world, and they're like, oh, the code was terrible, they did this, and it was sloppy, and the app didn't work, and blah, blah, blah. Cool, great. Did you explain to them what you were trying to do? Did you explain to them how to do it? Most of the time, no, they don't. They just expect them to be like, you're a coder, do your job. Make sense? And you have to remember, do not think in 1-2 weeks it's going to be a miracle, right? They need time to learn your system. And they need time to get used to you working together, right? I've watched a lot of people burn through a lot of VAs because they just don't know what they're doing, right? And also part of it is they're just acting like they're not. Right? It sucks for the other person because they're like, I was trying to do my job. You just didn't tell me what to do. You weren't clear about expectations. You know?
Thank you.
Hey, what's up? So that's why I build remote teams for people. I sit down with them and I say, great, let me show you how to build out every document you need to work with this person and what they're expecting to have from you, right? The turnaround from that is they love working with that person because now all of a sudden a good VA turns into what? What does a good VA turn into? They become invisible. Why do they become invisible? Because they know your routine. They know what to expect from you. Are you here for Nomad? Come on in. Yeah, you can sign in the sheet right there, and then we'll let you do your 10-minute presentation. Everybody already did it. I'm just kidding. So hopefully that makes more sense as to why most people struggle with hiring VAs, right? They all know Upwork, they all know Fiverr, and they will go and they will purchase a person. And then it turns out it was a terrible experience because they sat there and they were just like, I gave him my LinkedIn. I don't understand what the problem is. So, make sense? Good. So again, the journaling prompts I put up there because turn that into social media content. Like go post on TikTok, go post on an Instagram reel, right? You may think like nobody's gonna watch it, but the reason why nobody's gonna watch it in the beginning is because of what? You're not posting consistently. So when you don't post consistently, what happens to the algorithm? It It doesn't know who you are. It doesn't understand your content. It doesn't understand what you're trying to do. So if I come in and I post at 6 a.m. and then tomorrow I post at 10 a.m. and then I post at 1 p.m. and then all of a sudden tomorrow I post at 7 p.m. The algorithm is trying to figure out what? Who are you? What is your content? Who is your audience? That's the point of the algorithm. What else is the point of the algorithm to the business? The business expects that algorithm to make them money. They're going to look at your content and say, is it bringing us money? If the answer is you only give us 2 pieces of content a week, what is the algorithm going to think of you? It's going to ignore you because it doesn't bring in money to the company. But if you're somebody that comes in and streams every night at 7 p.m. without a miss, what does that algorithm think of you to the company? Money. Because you bring eyeballs to the screen, you bring bodies in the room, and you bring money to the company. It wants consistency, right? So if you use those journaling prompts as a way to start building your audience, and every day you go out and be like, hey, I gotta go make 5 TikToks. I need to sit down and push them out, and I need to make sure they're out by 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. And I'm gonna do that every single day, and that's how it works, right? I know a lot of young people who they stick to their schedules like you would not believe, right? Like they treat it like a job, right? So they go and they shoot all their TikToks, and then they go find a cafe and they edit everything, and then they go push them out, right? They have huge audiences. So why do they do that? Because it makes them a lot of money, right? So survival guides for first-time nomads is always have local emergency contacts. Just like I said with Safety Wing and all your nomad insurance companies, they will send you all that information. All you have to do is let them know, hey, I'm going to this city in 2 weeks. Can you please email me when I arrive, right? And they will send you an email that has all your places of where to go, where to pick up your prescriptions, if you have emergency, all that stuff, doctor visits, eye exams, everything's taken care of, right? Learn 10 essential phrases. Where's the bathroom? How much? Where should I go? Who is this? Maybe why, right? And if you're not sure, who should you ask? Yeah. Ask it, like, hey, I'm going to this country, it's right here, what 10 phrases should I know, right? And it will give you those 10 phrases. You're like, great, how do I say these phrases, right? Like, I have friends in Norway, and I still can't pronounce half of the stuff they say, right? And then keep a digital and paper copy of any key documents you need, right? Like, obviously, your traveling papers, all your other stuff. Just make sure you have copies of all that stuff, either on your phone or your laptop or whatever. Our phones are everything now, unfortunately. But don't worry, we're phasing those out, so they should be gone in the next 6-7 years. And then build a comfort kit, familiar routines, snacks, things like that, right? Like every place sort of has something we are familiar with, right? Like, hey, I need a burger every Tuesday night. Where can I go, right? Or I need a drink for this, where should I go, right? Just have something like that, just to sort of like feel comfortable. And join at least one. Yep, oh yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Yep. And join at least one community as soon as you get there, right? Where do you think most people go when they leave Capital Factory when they travel? What city? If you could say this one city, I'll be very surprised. No. As a nomad.
Okay, that's a nomad.
As a nomad. Yeah. Where? No. It's Bangkok. Why Bangkok? It's super cheap. It's super cheap. The infrastructure for transportation is very good, right? You can get around very fast. And there's so many nomad communities and expat communities that are already built there. So as soon as you land, you should have at least 5 nomad communities lined up, ready to go to, right? So you know people waiting for you. And what did I say beforehand about who to reach out to? Where do you find those communities? Telegram, right? Exactly, right? Reach out to them, like, hey, I'm coming into this place in 2 weeks. Anybody feel free to want to give me a tour? I appreciate it. You'd be surprised how many people will reach out and say, yes, please. As soon as you show up, I'll meet you at the airport. I'll show you around. Why? Because those people were in your shoes a while back, right? So that's what those communities do. They help you adjust to those places. And when you join those nomad communities, it doesn't matter where you are. You can be in Africa, you can be in India. There's so many communities around there now. Just let them know, hey, I'm coming. Somebody will come visit you. Right? Like they will show you around. Any questions about this?
I have a question.
Sure.
So how do you let them know?
So in Telegram, there's all these digital nomad communities you can join, right? So you can message one of the groups, right? Reddit has a big nomad community, right? Nomad List also has a private Slack channel. You can message like what city you're going to. Yeah. So, this one right here is inspired stories and lessons learned. So like a business win, turning misunderstanding opportunities. So does anybody have a story of a nomad who misread a client's communication style? I mean, if you don't travel enough, but do you have anything? I mean, you can share it. You know?
Maybe more like a comparison. So I'm like half European, half American.
Sure.
And what I observe in terms of, because I still do service, which is like service business. I'm a fractional CMO, which would be my follow-up question, but never, yeah. But regarding this topic, I think it's really easier in the US to schedule a meeting with someone,
Really?
with a prospect.
Okay.
It's pretty easy, but then to get the deal done, it's quite difficult. In Europe, I would say it's pretty difficult to get the foot in the door.
Okay.
But once you get it, the path to closing the deal is much shorter.
Okay.
Because here is everything kind of polished, everything's great, but they don't really want to. No, they don't necessarily want to close the deal, right? The introduction and everything looks nice, but yeah. In Europe, we're much more honest. So then, when you actually genuinely show the interest in meeting with someone, it's more likely to get the deal done.
Okay, so what is the cultural difference? Because what word did I use that Americans are very known for, and outsiders are not? What do Americans do in terms of business deals? They're very transactional, right? Why did they close deals faster over there in Europe? What is it about them that's different from us?
Because the top of funnel is a higher filter, like a stronger filter, I would say.
You mean relationships?
I'm not sure. I think relationships are important in both.
Okay. If I come and do a deal with you, do I care that you are divorced or you have 3 kids or you live on this side of town and that your dog is dying? Do I care about any of that stuff as an American? Right, we don't, right? Like, Americans don't give a crap about that stuff, right? Like, I go meet you for a meeting, I'm trying to close a deal, do I need to know that your birthday party with your kid is tomorrow night at 3 p.m.?
No.
In America, it's very different, right? Around the world, it's very relationship-based. Why do you think in Japan, they spend so much time building relationships? Because what are they concerned with? They want a long-term client that they can do business with, that they can trust. Americans could care less if you're going to be around in 5 years. I want the money now. Sad, right? Why do you think there's so many lawsuits in the business world in the US, right? It's not like that in certain places because that's why they get to know you first. Are you somebody I can trust? Are you somebody that, hey, your sister is dying of cancer, let me help you. Here it's, who cares? Right? So that's your problem, yeah?
It's so transactional.
You tell that to most Americans that that's really how they look at stuff, right? It's very different, right? Like this topic is something that as a nomad you have to be aware of because as an American you are going to very much stand out when you bring those values into another country and you're just like, I just want to sign, can you just sign the document so I can go? To that person in that country, you come off as rude, arrogant, apprehensive. Why do I want to work with you? Right? You're not going to bring me more business down the road, just more problems. Right? So, that's why, go watch that movie, Gung Ho. I think you'll very much enjoy it. Like, that was a big movie when it came out, right? And I enjoyed watching that when I was like a little kid, even though I just thought it was cool that he went to Japan. But it tells you like why there's so many different issues there, right? Most Americans would not, in their mind, fathom going to work and let's all work out together, right? So that goes back to lifelong friendships, right? Like you're bonding through cultural differences, you know? Ichiban, there's a sushi place on the north side. So Ichiban over there on Burnett, if y'all have ever been there. When I first went there, it was amazing. I have no idea what it's like now, I haven't been there in a while. But the staff would tell me that Friday nights, all the executives from the big tech companies would come and have dinner there. And most of them were all Asian, Japanese, and everything. And they would rent out the booths in the back. And they would stay there till like 2, 3 in the morning, party, all this stuff. That's how they built relationships. They had a community that they fostered, right? You get drunk with me, I feel safe doing business with you, right? That's how we get to know each other, you know? Here, getting drunk is, we're gonna go have some beers and things like that, because it's 5 o'clock, I got paid, and damn it, I'm tired. See? That's where the differences are, right? And once you know that as a nomad, you realize when you walk into a place, you're like, this is how they do things. I need to respect that, right? Don't walk in with your beer in your hand and a burger in another, and be like, all right, let's get this done. And that's where your personal breakthrough and your growth strategy showcase, like, I know how to do business around the world. So going back to traveling with Kristen, if I was to ask you, how much do you think she charges to help people become digital nomads? Because remember, I don't charge as nearly as much as she does. What do you think she charges to help somebody transition into that lifestyle per hour? Remember, she can land in any city in the world and have 300 people show up. She knows the customs, the people, the local place. What do you think she charges?
200?
Why don't you say 2,000 one-on-one or something like that?
You were close.
An hour?
An hour. You were close. She's 600 for 30 minutes over time. Okay. Why is she charged so much?
And that's for one-to-one 30 minutes.
What are you paying for?
For the mistakes
She's learned, yes. What else? What are you paying for?
Access.
That's right, you're paying for access, right? Because like, hey, I'm gonna go to this little town over here. Where should I stay? Who should I talk to? Where should I go and where should I not go, right? She will help you with all that. Hey, this is a great place you should stay at. It's a very safe community. I'm gonna call my friend Paul. I'm gonna let him know you're coming. He can give you a discount on your first week or 2, right? Get you acclimated, and he can probably set you up at the co-working space. Go talk to Sarah over at this co-working space. She can help get you set up, okay? And then if you want to know some communities, I can reach out to my network right there and tell them, hey, you're new to the community, here's who you go talk to. Do you think that $600 is worth it? Absolutely. Because now all of a sudden you have connections. You know where to go, where to avoid, right? And now you have things waiting for you. You're not walking in like, what do I do? Right? Most people here would love to be able to charge that stuff, right? Like, again, like I don't charge as nearly as much as she does, but that's where her power and her connections come in, right? She's done so much, and she has the proof because she has a YouTube channel. Again, she's not Taylor Swift, right? She doesn't have millions of followers, but the community she does have is very strong, right? So each of these stories shows the culture shock isn't just something to survive, it's a catalyst for showing how to grow as a nomad, right? That's what you want to use as a nomad is, how can I use their community to help me grow, not just with my business, my clients, but also like me as a person, right? When you're a nomad, you're gonna have amazing dinners all around the world. Why? Because people are gonna invite you to their homes. They're gonna be like, hey, this is what we do every Friday night. Would you rather enjoy doing that, or would you rather enjoy getting off at work at 5 o'clock, dead tired, go to HEB, stand in line, pick up the groceries, go home, watch Love Island, and know that 9:30 comes and you're in bed by yourself. So your call to action is, as a nomad and for cultural awareness, is don't look at it as like a barrier. Like it's an opportunity to grow, right? And it just makes you stronger, and it allows you to build those deeper relationships, right? Say, hey, look, I don't know your customs. Teach me. Show me what's going on. Like, why do you do things the way you do, right? You'll find out very quickly. People want to share. They want to show you, right? That's why I showed you that YouTube series. Those two guys traveling. They did it because of kindness. When they get to Singapore, they land. They have no idea who anybody is. So they walk into a cafe, hey, we're traveling the world for free. We don't know what's going on. The guys at the table are already drunk. Yes, come join us. Have a drink. What do you want to eat? Anything on us. Remember, when you're 21 years old and you're broke, when you hear everything's on us, you are the happiest person ever. You order everything you can possibly think. And when you watch that episode, you see they built community.
What's the name of that episode again?
I think it's like episode 3 or 4.
Okay.
I think it's episode 3 or 4.
Well, I mean, like, what's the name of the people that shared it?
I don't remember their name.
Okay.
But it's when they get to Singapore.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, they get there, right? And they're like, okay, where do we go and stay? We don't have a place to stay. Okay, I'm gonna call my cousin. He'll come get you. You'd be surprised just how much people will reach out, right? When you are just as giving, people are just as giving, right? There was a book I read a long time ago called The Kindness Diaries. And there was this guy who basically wanted to know, can I travel the world on the kindness of strangers, right? And that series is basically just an updated version of that. Except he was by himself and he was an older man, I think he was in his 40s, and he wrote a book about it. Well, now what do people do? They make YouTube videos now, right? So he did the same thing. He got into a little car and he drove around, and he discovered so many people are going to open their hearts and houses to you out of kindness, right? And that's what happened, right? So as you take that in, your reflection is what mindset shift will you take with you, right? Like, hey, that person helped me, even though they have less than me, right? There's another episode where they're in the Middle East, and they stay with the family, right? And they're like, we're trying to get here. So the dad's like, okay, take a car. And the guy's like, you can't take a car, we're not coming back. That's fine. We don't know that. He's like, no, we're not taking a car. He's like, we'll get a ride somewhere, right? It's fine, here's the keys. You go, right? It's interesting what happens when you put yourself out there, right? And the way they made that video was phenomenal, right? I don't think today they would have been able to make that video had AI not existed, right? A lot of the stuff you see in the video was AI generated because of the special effects, right? Everything else they just shot with the GoPro and a phone camera, right? Yeah. And your connections, share the stories. You'll learn later on in the series, they go to Australia, right? And in their checklist, they want to fly in a plane and get flying lessons, right? So they sit and call all these flying places. And what do you think each one tells them? Well, how much are you gonna pay? Right? And they're like, we don't have any money, we're two broke guys. We're just traveling the world. Oh no, sure, that's it, right? Over and over they got no's. No's, no, 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 you have to pay for this, no, no, right? So they're walking through, they see this little hangar, and they see an old man working on a plane, and they walk up and say, hey, we saw you run a charter service here. Would you mind giving us a free ride? And he looked at them and he's like, what are y'all doing? What are y'all trying to do? It's like, well, we make a YouTube channel and we're traveling the world and we're doing all this stuff, and there were some other friends that they'd met along the way. And he looks around and his wife comes out. He's like, hey, these kids want to go learn how to do that. Okay, well, go show them. So they got a free ride. So what do you think they did in return? That's right. They promoted his company. So they showcased the name of his website, what he does, and what do you think all his followers did? Gave him 5-star reviews. Everybody who came there went and used their company. All the other companies that said no because they were worried about a transaction, guess what happened to them? They had no promotion. So those connections, that video will forever be on YouTube, and his website will forever be there, right? And those people will forever see the kindness that those two individuals, who are just a husband and wife running a charter business, right, who will now get business forever. So the world is waiting for you to go out there. You just, not just to adapt to it, but to grow with it, right? Because that's how it is to be a nomad. So in this series, I've been doing this for, I don't know, a long time now. And I started back in January for intro. We've gone through cultures, we've gone through health and wellness, we've been through finance and legal issues already. We're done culture now, and then next month is going to be networking around the world. So if you want to know like all these cool communities to be a part of, come out for that if you're going to be there every third Monday. It's just today is here because of next week is Austin Tech Week, which all of you are going to be at, right? Really good. So that's why I'm doing it tonight. Normally I would be next week. And then after that, in 2 weeks will be my next class, the Solopreneur Lifestyle, right? So again, it's kind of the same thing, except you're not traveling, right? You get to go. So I have book recommendations, because I always like to share this stuff with people. So one of the things I always tell people is, as a nomad, when you're traveling, what are you trying to do? Well, you need to know how to sell, right? If you don't know how to sell, you can't really do anything, right? So nomad selling online. This is updated, by the way, so it has a lot of great resources if you want to pass it around if you need to. Designing your life the way you want it, right? Like as a nomad, you decide how your life works. So this is a great book to look at. And if you know the Points guy, he wrote a book, How to Win at Travel.
Oh, really?
So he shows you all kinds of little tips and tricks on traveling on no money or on points, rewards, or things like that. And the thing we were talking about earlier today was Frontier Pass. Who knows about Frontier Pass? Right? Do you know Frontier Pass?
Like the discount done. That's what you mean.
The unlimited flights?
I know the discount done. They're
Wild.
Yeah, the Go Wild Pass. Do you know that one?
I've seen it, but no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you buy the pass and you can ride as many times as you want, right?
With the caveat, you have to book it 24 hours before.
Yes, right, exactly, yes, right. And then the Sweaty Startup, right? These are basically,
And the Huber, yeah.
It's the second time I've had this book recommended to me.
yeah. So basically, like, these are boring jobs that just make money, and that's what you're trying to do, right? Like that's what I teach in my other classes. You're not trying to build a massive, complex business. You just need something simple and automated, right? If you build an automated business, what happens? Well, now you create passive income, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's an example of a small automated business that you can start? Now I know he kind of already knows, but I want to see if y'all do.
Dropshipping isn't really trendy anymore, but that will be an answer.
I need a small, tiny, and automated that I can push up.
I mean, now AI workflows, but
Do AI workflows need maintenance?
yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they break, right?
Online courses.
Okay. So I'm glad you brought that up because there was a guy, he made an online course and he was very good at phonetics. Do you know what phonetics is? It's when you can understand the pronunciation of words, right, the sound. So he had a very strong part of his brain that understood phonetics really well. And he developed a course that helps medical students learn terminology better using phonetics, right? So he built the course and he posted it online. And what do you think happened? I gotta make y'all think, I can't give you everything.
I mean, I guess the producing the content means nothing if you don't have an audience to market it and sell it to.
Okay, so how did he get his audience? Who's gonna buy a course that teaches you medical terminology using phonetics?
I mean, you need an audience of doctors, nurses, students, people interested in that field for sure.
Okay, how did he do that though?
I would imagine social media. I mean, it's
So the course
social
came out
media.
back in 2004, 2005,
Yeah.
still pays all his bills today.
Wow.
How did he do that?
Relationships. I don't know.
So he sat down and said, I made an amazing course, and he contacted every medical doctor who teaches around the world. And he says, hey, this is the course that I teach. I would appreciate it if you would tell it to your students, share it with your students, right? He reached out to every medical school around the world, and he just did that over and over and over and over. And many of these schools started to endorse his program, right? Like I said, that course today that he made over 20 years ago still pays all of his bills today. One course, right? Because his marketing strategy was, I just need to contact medical schools. And I just need to contact the teachers that teach medical terminology. So going back to the VA thing, he hired VAs to be like, hey, I need you to cover this part of the world. He hired another VA to cover this part of the world. He hired another VA to cover this part of the world, and that's all they did, all the time. Just reaching out and promoting his course. So he did that for a long time, right? And that built up a lot of momentum, and that built up a lot of interest. So sometimes it just takes a small little idea to create a big wave. Okay? So we have AI today, right? That course, he did everything by hand. He made the video by hand, he shot the video by hand, he edited it by hand, all that stuff. Today, you can do the same course and knock it out with AI real quick. And now we have Sora, and now we can have people who go in and pronounce these words and do all this stuff, and now you can make another version of that same course, right? So what's a small little business you can build that's automated? That's tiny. That makes a lot of money.
So not online courses.
You can still do online courses. In fact, I know people who knock out courses like you would not believe. Like what they do is they go online and they look at everything trending, and then they throw all that stuff into AI and say build a course around this, right? And then price it according to market interest or market demand, right? And then they take that and where do they put it?
Gumroad?
Okay, that's one option. What else? But I mean,
Gumroad. But that's more for products rather than courses.
it is, right? But you can still sell digital stuff,
Mhm.
right? You can still do Shopify, but there's a problem with that. What's the problem? Come on, you wanna be a nomad, you gotta make money.
High fees.
No?
Mm-hmm.
If I have a
Marketing.
if I have a Gumroad shop, what do I need to do to get my course out there?
Okay.
Market it. I have to build an audience, otherwise nobody's gonna go to that site,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So where should I go where the audience already exists?
So Coursera, edX, and so on.
Great, but what other platforms allow me to go post whatever I want? Like I can go post on, Coursera and all that stuff, and I can make all my courses, and many people do that already, right? But what other sites are very popular for that?
Well, not YouTube, because you have to advertise.
Right? Right?
I mean, increasingly, Substack's discoverability has gotten a lot better.
Right, but you still have to market it,
Yeah.
okay? Alright, so, everybody on your computer, open a tab and go to Skillshare.com.
Yeah.
Why didn't y'all say that? Right? Go to Skillshare.com, start an account, and guess what you can do? You can share your skills, go figure. And you can post all your courses that you want, right? Now, does that stop you from posting anywhere else?
I didn't realize you could just post on Skillshare.
Yes.
Okay.
Because remember, Skillshare allows you to post courses and allows you to do community events, right? That's what Skillshare was known for, was building community events, sharing your skills, right? What is the other site that you can also share your courses on that have traction already? Okay, we're gonna open another tab. We're gonna go to teachable.com.
Yeah, teachable.
Right. See, we do know this stuff. Right? Nobody is stopping you from like not posting, right? Nobody's at your house being like, no, you cannot make that course.
What about school? But school is also.
No, school is for community building, right? School is about community building because you build your community and then you can put your courses in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how would you build that as a funnel system?
I didn't use school much, but I know Hormozy uses it. But
Okay, I know. But how do I as a nomad make money using school? How do they do it now? Hey guys, guess what? My newsletter went out this week. Make sure you're subscribed, right? That's part of the school community, okay? Also, I just dropped a new course. Go check it out. It's on my Teachable page. So over there, everyone in my community that's here gets 50% off as a member, right? So they're gonna go check it out, right? Anybody who refers out my course also gets an additional 10% off, right? So what are they gonna do? They're gonna go promote it on social media. They're gonna go share it. They're gonna do all that stuff because they want another discount, right? What does that do to my Teachable profile? It amplifies it. It brings me more traction. So what does Teachable do?
Promotes it.
Promotes it.
Because you're bringing in money.
I'm bringing them money. It's a system, right? So then my course gets pushed up to their front page of courses that they want to promote, right? So now I'm making money on my courses. I'm traveling the world. I'm building my community. I have supporters. I have an audience.
are there any maybe better alternatives to school? Because
Of course, absolutely.
I'm not so familiar with this space.
What do you mean?
I don't know the
Is it-
alternatives there much. Not even from the point of view of a consumer, and definitely not from the.
So remember, there are many options besides school, right? Like you can go and build your own like Facebook page. You can build your own like LinkedIn page for
Sure.
something, right?
Yeah.
So again, the only difference is, why did it do that? The only difference is that you have to pay for school, right? So if I make a free account, how much is it for a school account? I think they said it's like $90 a year or something like that. But if I have a paid account, I think it's more. But again, my paid account would also bring in a lot more money. So who here has taken a look at some of the, I just love technology. Who here has actually spent time on school to look at what some of these communities are doing and what people are paying for? So since we have some time right now, what I will do is I will go into school and I will show you.
What is the school platform?
So it's like a community building platform.
Okay.
And so basically you just go here and you look at these communities that you can build, right? So AI Automation Society, it's free. It has 158.7 thousand members, right? So how are they making money doing that? Anybody want to tell me how they do that? It should be very, it should come to you right away. Well, they push product.
Yeah.
Like they push products. Like they advertise, right? They have a newsletter, they have a Substack thing, they push product, they do all kinds of stuff, right? That's why it's free, because they can sell to their members. Okay, so now let's look at this other one right here. Calligraphy School. Let's all learn calligraphy for $9 a month, and I have 1.4K members paying me $9 a month. How much is that a month? Come on, that literally should have been like 9,000.
9,000.
Okay. 1 times 1 is always good. Okay. So, all right. So, pickleball school. Yeah, come on, people. Look at this. People are paying $40 a month to go to school, and how many members are in there? Okay.
9,000. Jesus Christ.
Wouldn't you like to have that per month?
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? Go start a pickleball school. What are you doing? Okay? All right. Let's look at another day by day wellness club. 58,000 members. That's free. you better damn well believe there's a lot of sponsors in that group, pushing all kinds of witty products. Okay? So let's keep going. The acting lab, for $200 a month, you can be a great actor. Okay? And we have 161 members in there. Like School of Mentors, for $50 a month, I have 5K members who have a mentor. Okay? And Family Screen Time Challenge. I am paying somebody to help me with my screen time challenge for my kids. Damn it. And I have 184 members paying me that. Okay? Trading for women. Let's learn how to trade day stocks for $35 a month. So you can't tell me you can't go to the school community and charge a whole bunch of money and do what again? Okay? As a nomad, that's what you're doing, is you're building community. So either you can have it for free or charge, and it's an ecosystem, right? Go check out my stuff here. I just dropped a course. If you're part of the community, you get a discount code. Here's what you do. All right?
I mean, I understand online courses are lucrative, but what if you don't wanna show your face?
Remember, there's faceless stuff, right? Like, look.
That's my thing.
I'm going to show you right now. I'm glad you brought that up because we got to talk to Jordan real quick. You ready? There we go. All right, let's watch. Oh, that's right. There's no sound. All right, so basically, this teenager right here, he makes $600,000 a month making faceless YouTube videos. Okay? And what he does is he scrapes all the content that he needs, and he focuses on industries that everyone reads. Celebrity news, courtroom dramas, all kinds of stuff that are very popular across the industry, right? He goes, grabs the information, cuts it up, he posts a video, he does not put his face on anything. Right? Look how many YouTube videos now exist that are all faceless stuff, right? That are all AI generated.
But can you sell courses?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. And what kind of course could you sell using AI? Let me show you how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich using all the planets in the world.
Using all the what?
Planets in the universe. You probably think it's stupid, right? And you're like, nobody's gonna pay for that. I guarantee you nobody's gonna pay for that. And let me remind you, people pay for feet pics, so don't tell me what people are gonna pay. Okay?
That's a good line to have in your back pocket. I like that a lot.
Because yes, I can make a video that just shows you how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich using all the planets of the universe, and people will watch that. You know how I know? Let me see if I can find it. Right?
There's so much content now. It's insane.
Watch.
What the?
I just showed, see? I just proved you wrong, right there. If only I had sound. If only I had sound. Right? What planet is that?
And you know, it would never make sense to make that without AI.
Right? And I'm sure y'all have all seen the
I have not seen this.
right, would you like to sleep on that bed? Right, the red one?
Oh my
All right.
god.
Or what about cotton candy? Would you like to sleep on cotton candy for going to bed? Right?
Get you a sword, comes.
Or would you like to sleep on snow? Go to bed there? Or how about mercury? Alright. How would I make money doing this? How would I do that?
Coast. Be consistent, picked up by the algorithm.
I can make a video that says, I will teach you how to make the bed as my videos using AI. Right? For $20 or $50, I will show you how to structure your prompt systems to make these videos. right? And if you're following my content already, you see that I already produce AI video generations. I show you how to make those kinds of things, right?
Everything's a funnel.
So there's the other one about the AI cats at McDonald's. They work at McDonald's, right?
Ridiculous.
Hey, they're busy, okay? They're super busy, all right?
So silly.
But it works, right?
Oh, that is the attention economy.
Oh, there's more. I unfortunately I have to see this every night. Like there's a flight cat attendants. Okay, they go around the little carts, giving everybody the little snacks.
I've actually seen that one. Yeah.
But again, that's how I think, right? Like I look at this and I say, how would I create the prompting system to teach somebody how to build this, right? Because again, you watch this video, to you it's entertainment. What is it to that person? It's a paycheck, right? Because it gets views, it gets clicks, and what is the algorithm that I said is paying attention to? The ones that bring in the money to the companies, right? So if this video is an algorithm that brings eyeballs to the company, they're going to give you a paycheck for it, right? Going back to what you said earlier, you don't have to put your face on the videos, right? You can go in there and generate all kinds of content that's educational, and now you can use Sora to do that. So as cute as these things are, it's one of those things where it's literally a business model, right? And to me, it's just like, I look at like this as like, cats are everything, right? Like cats have just been like a dominant force of like how people watch entertainment. So if you're just trying to make a buck, I can already tell you it's already saturated. There are already people out there who have YouTube channels and TikTok channels where it's all AI generated cat videos. And they're doing all kinds of stuff, right? And you know what? Those people are bringing in big amounts of money. And you know what's even crazier about that? Is Sora has been around for what, less than a year now? So where do you think movie making is going to go pretty soon? It's going to turn into video games. That's all it's going to do, right? Because if I can go now and make this with a video game, and I can make this for my own 15-year-old son or daughter, and be like, hey, what kind of game would you like? And then they take it and then they put their spin on it, right? Guess what I can do with that? What can I do to make money with that? I can go to Steam and upload my video game and sell it. So how can I help you? This goes back to, this is what I do for people, right? Like I can have assistants apply for jobs for you, right? Get you a travel assistant. I always tell people, if you're going to be a digital nomad, get a travel assistant for the parts of the world you're going to be in. Why? Because they grew up there. They know the culture, they know the customs, they know the discounts, they know the reward systems. Many people don't think like that. They just get the web developer, they get the social media person. Get a travel assistant that can find you all the discounts, that know the people in those regions, right? I don't know if you know this, but you can also get a VA to just go write all your books for you. Yes, we have AI to do it now, which is why you're going to tell your VA, use AI to write this. I'm going to send you a list every week, follow my structure of how I organize my books, and go put it in an Amazon store. And that's it, right? And have somebody develop your courses. Hire somebody who knows how to build courses already. Tell them, here you're going to use AI. Here's the SOP. 2 courses a week. That's it, right? How much is the VA costing them? It's the same thing as buying Starbucks, right? So if that person is making you 2-3 courses a week, and they're the same price as going to Starbucks, And those courses, you're charging $500, $600 a pop. What is the problem again?
I mean, writing the SOPs is not a walk in the park, but.
Right. But once you get over that hump, and all of a sudden that person follows your SOP, and they're knocking out 3 courses a week, right? So if your courses bring in an average of, let's say, $5,000 to $10,000 a month, because you're following the system, the funnel system that you're building, right? You're going into your school community, every Monday night you're doing a Discord, live stream with your community members, like, hey guys, I just dropped into the course, go check it out. First 50 members get it for free, blah, blah, blah. It's a system, right? And it's meant to get clicks, it's meant to get eyeballs, and don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter, do this, be a part of this, right? It's how that whole system works, right? So now you start to see how you can live as a nomad, and how easy it is to build like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different companies, and just automate them.
Is it sustainable though?
Because remember, we haven't even gotten to the part that I always talk about, and that is building a newsletter. How would you make money as a newsletter? Let me ask you that.
Advertising space, promoting your own content and other paid kind of mediums.
Okay. What is the average return for 1,000 followers?
I do not have a concept of that.
Anybody want to take a guess?
A newsletter.
I have a newsletter, and you have 1,000 followers, what's the average return?
$100.
What?
1,000 followers.
Okay.
100 million followers.
The average return is
For 1,000 or
For
one?
a million?
Oh, sorry. So it's 1,000 followers equals 80K a year. That's the average return, right? How do I get to this number?
Please.
So if I have a newsletter with this, right? I have 3 ad slots. Sorry. You can price them between, let's say, 500 to 1K each, and there's 3, and you have a weekly newsletter. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is that? What is that a week? That's 3,000.
1,000.
Yeah.
How many weeks are in a month?
4.
Four-ish.
How many months are in a year?
52 in a year.
What's the number? Anybody want to take out a calculator? Just do the math real quick. Okay, remember, we're just doing ads right now. We're not at courses yet. We're not in anything else. Okay, what is the number at?
At the low end, that's 78K, I guess.
Okay. That's at 1,000, or is that 500?
That's at 500.
Okay. So you can still sell courses, right? You can still sell ebooks. You can still sell all this stuff, right? That's off of this, right? Because your newsletter goes out weekly, and it goes to your followers. Remember, not everybody's going to pay for all your stuff, right? And that's okay, because it can still be a free newsletter, but you're getting money from your ad slots, right? So as you start to increase your numbers, even if you get to 2,000, and you're making this much a week, right? Now you can up the price you charge for ads.
Can you sell an ad on a 1,000 person newsletter for $500?
Yes.
I
Right,
guess
because remember, look at the
it has to be
niche
in a
markets.
niche, I suppose,
It-
yeah.
these are not broad newsletters, by the way.
Yeah.
This is not a general newsletter. This is a newsletter that with something for me like a digital nomad, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who's like a car meetup, right? If I have a newsletter that does car meetups and I do all the meetups in San Antonio or Austin, who is my market? Car enthusiasts.
And that's
Who are my advertisers for a car meetup?
car brands, car parts, car mods.
Thank you, right? I'm gonna go to all the mechanic shops in the city and be like, hey, I run a car meetup newsletter. Would you like to be in my newsletter that goes out to 1,000 people in the city? Yes, I would. How much is your slot? It's $500. Please, here it is. Okay? Now, what can you do with that newsletter? You can have books, right? How to start your own car meetup, right? It's So $1.99 is on Amazon, go buy it right there, right? If you're a part of the community, you get 25% off. Okay? So, what's another market that's huge, that is a niche newsletter? What's Austin known for?
A lot of things.
Okay, that you can make money with. It's a college town,
Oh, yeah.
okay?
For sure.
It's a young person's town.
Mhm.
Okay, it's not an old person, it is a young person's town, right? You can go to all the universities and you can create a newsletter that says, I create a newsletter, it gives discount codes for all the bars and restaurants in town.
Mhm.
You can go to all the bars and you can have custom discount codes made for your newsletter that say, hey, if you're part of this, it's $3 a month to be on my newsletter, and you get all these discounts with all these restaurants as a college student. So how do you make sure that only college students have access to this? They have to register with a,
.edu, with that university's email.
there you go. Right?
Those
So
are
now,
checks.
so how many students go to UT again?
40,000, 50,000.
50,000,
Yeah.
right? Even if you get 10% of that,
Mhm.
okay? And that's just UT. We're not talking about St. Edward's, Concordia, we're not talking about ACC, right? Or whatever that other school is. And that's just a newsletter for college students that gives discounts to go and eat out and go have fun, right? Do you need to run that newsletter?
No.
Who runs the newsletter?
VA.
The VA and your AI.
Mhm.
So who are you charging $500 to?
The advertiser, right? Because the advertiser is paying to be on your newsletter to go to that audience.
And that's.
Why would I pay that? I'm just saying.
Because that's whoever they are, right?
They're
Like-
reaching a niche audience.
Yeah.
Right? But then the question is like, you spend money finding them, right? Also, or.
I don't know, you could have a VA go and scrape all the car mechanic shops in Austin and have that VA contact every single mechanic shop and be like, I run a newsletter that does this. And guess what? I may hit 100 car mechanic shops, and if only 4 work with me that pay that, am I gonna complain? Everybody else may say no, I'm okay with that. That's how the market works. But if I have 4 that say, yes, I wanna be on that and I will pay you $500, I'm gonna get $500.
I feel like in transactional America, getting that first outreach is easier, almost.
Okay?
And then.
But what happens
you're
over time?
Building a building relationship over time.
What
And
happens
it's gonna
over,
grow.
it's gonna keep growing. That number is not gonna stay at 1,000 forever, right? It's gonna keep growing and growing and growing, and why? Because your VA is out there marketing their stuff, it's constantly talking to organizations. In 6 months, they'll probably be at 2,000 or 6,000 followers, right? So charging $500 doesn't make any more sense. That's a simple business you can automate that just makes money, right? There you go back.
Yeah, you see.
Head to, yeah, zero.
Back to the Apple TV.
Jeez, wow, look at this, so crazy.
They just have it mounted up there.
Yeah. I don't know why it has to be so finicky. But that's why I always start off with like just a simple newsletter, right? Like this isn't even trying to get into like e-courses, or e-books. This is not getting into like one-on-one consulting yet. Templates, things like that you can sell. So, cause again, if you run a newsletter, what kind of course could you sell? How to run a newsletter business, right?
Yeah.
That's just great. I love this. Alright, perfect. Okay, so next slide. If you have more questions, that is my link, that's my calendar link. I don't even think this is supposed to go here. I think that's why they're there. But yeah, if you want to talk more about this, also I have discount things if you parked in the garage. Hopefully you did not and you parked on the street where it's free. But other than that, I do have more stuff, so I do need to get those books real quick. Yeah, please, someone out when I'm done.
I didn't know that the discount was a thing in Capital Factory. Cool.
Yeah, but this is why I do my events on Mondays when parking is free. And even though I've said that for the longest time, like people still do, parking in the garage.
Is street parking free on Mondays? I thought
So
it was just
street
Sundays.
parking is free on Mondays and Tuesdays, right?
Oh, it's just this area then. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
But Sunday is free parking all of downtown.
Right.
Yeah, so. And then this is the LinkedIn, page, right? So I will post stuff on here. I'll be putting more like community events, more things like that that you can check out. So if you want to follow it and keep up to date with it. I do post a lot of stories, things about how to get involved in communities around the world. So I'll be reaching out to more events and people who want to participate, things like that. And any feedback I would definitely appreciate. You know, maybe this was too boring, maybe there was just too much information, maybe there wasn't enough information. I would appreciate the feedback, and anything you give. And then that is my LinkedIn, and that is my email address if you want to connect.
Wow, live.com.
I know, right?
Let's see, this is that often. I wonder if mine's still live, no? I don't know, I haven't used it forever.
But yeah, so next month that'll be networking around the world. So I'll cover a whole bunch of communities. And then my other class coming up in 2 weeks for soulpreneurship, that will be on the 16th floor, and we will be covering financial sales and like cost structure for your business. So a lot of the stuff that we kind of covered here, like for courses and things like that, how to start pricing all your courses, your newsletters, things like that, according to the market, right? Again, you can use AI now to do dynamic pricing, right? So it can adjust for different market trends. Again, remember, how many newsletters are you allowed to have?
Unlimited.
That's right. There is no limit to how many newsletters you can run. So you can go build a team of newsletters, right? And assign 2, 3 VAs to a newsletter and say, hey, this is your job, this is what you do, this is how it's run, follow the instructions, and just knock it out, right? And their job is basically to go out and promote it. They manage the socials, they get people to subscribe, and it's just a funnel system, right? And then that operates by itself. You may need to come in every now and then just to see how things are going. Other than that, newsletters are amazing, right? Because they can generate a lot of money real fast, and they're very tiny. They are very tiny businesses. In fact, the reason why I mentioned Beehive is because Beehive is, to me, the only platform I know that will bring the advertisers to you.
Really?
What they do is they say, hey, you have X number of subscribers. There is a database of advertisers that they work with, and they will come in and say, hey, these 4 advertisers want to work with you. Do you want to work with them? They will negotiate everything for you. They will do all that work for you, right?
And I'm sure they take a cut for that.
Of course, right? But again, they do the work. You don't have to go get your advertisers. If you want to do it yourself, that's fine. You can still do that, right? But they will go in, and then you will select on your template for your newsletter where do the ads go, right? Other than that, Beehive does all the work, right? So you may have different advertisers every week, and that's okay, right? They're giving you a paycheck, and you're making money, you're running your newsletter, and that's it. So we are in a very different world now, where apps can be built in a day. Where now we can drop courses in 1 hour, right? And now we can make cat videos that show us how to do our SOPs for our workstation. So, I'm sure a lot of people are gonna go home and watch those videos again. And, cause the bed ones, oh my god, they get crazy. Like, what I showed you there, that's just a small piece of all the different beds they've shown. It's wild. When I first saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. They have one for, your car is the month of your birthday, right? and you get into a vehicle, and it's like May is like all diamonds, and then another one is like all marshmallows or something, and it's crazy, right? And nobody would have thought we could have ever made any of this stuff 10 years ago, right? You probably would have had to hire a special effects editor, pay them a lot of money, edit the thing, do all that stuff. And now those videos are spit out in like a minute. Yeah. And yeah. So
It's crazy.
it is, right? And that's kind of what I show people is like the guy I was talking to today who lost his job. Like he was very much like here because he was like, what am I gonna do? Like I had a career. And all of a sudden he realized like he had a whole bunch of knowledge that he wasn't sharing, right? So I'm gonna show you this guy who now that you have that, this is somebody who most people are not paying attention to. That dude right there. And no matter how many times I've talked about this in my course, and that is just start YouTube. Like just start YouTube, like just get your Twitch channel up and running. He is an audience that nobody here would probably watch, right? Like he's in his 60s, and he went on and he's like, I posted videos and I wasn't consistent, and that was my mistake. So then I sat down and I said, I'm gonna make a system and I'm gonna make this work. So he went in and started knocking out 3 videos a week, and his numbers started to go up. That's what's gonna happen. Just like this, your numbers will go up. So he did that consistently, right? In 4 to 6 months, he was a full-time YouTuber. I'm not saying everyone here that will happen, but because he was consistent and he worked at it and he did his stuff, he built his audience, right? He's not worried about looking for a job anymore, right? And he never will be. But he went in and he sat down and he pushed it out. So when he started doing Twitch, what do you think happened? Nobody watched him. Nobody watched him for 3 months.
Well, yeah.
Why? Because the algorithm doesn't know what he's doing, and the algorithm doesn't understand his consistency. But he kept doing it, and he watched, and his count was 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. And all of a sudden, 10, all of a sudden 50, all of a sudden 100, and all of a sudden it got to 1,000, and the algorithm knew, hey, this guy is on every day, 7 p.m., these people are on looking for this stuff, that's his audience. If you try it for 3 months and you get mad and you're just like, nobody's watching my stuff, this is stupid, I don't know why I went to this class, I paid all this money and got nothing for it. It's because the algorithm's still trying to figure out who you are, right? The reason why people love TikTok is because that algorithm cuts it in half. You can go do TikTok for like 5 days, 6 days, and all of a sudden you have 50 people following, right? Because the algorithm is so finely tuned, it's probably one of the best algorithms ever made. And that's why you can grow so much faster on TikTok than you can on YouTube. Because YouTube is serious about who its audience is. TikTok it's a viral thing, right? It just needs eyeballs. You know? So you can sit down there and be like, hey, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna start making videos on my post. And now that we have AI tools to go in and be like, hey, I'm gonna shoot all this stuff, well, guess what happened? I'm gonna show you this guy.
What browser do you use?
This is Vivaldi.
I've used that one.
Yes, this guy right here. Yes, okay. So look at his subscriber count. All right. Notice anything? What is he promoting?
Community.
Adventure.
What else? Is that a burrito? I think that's a burrito. My gosh, that's really strong. See, you're going to start to see this more because your eyes are not used to looking at this. Do you see the link and where it's going?
Bristol.
Okay. Let's
So
go
wait,
see,
wait,
let's
wait
go
for
see
some-
what this is about. Remember, he launched this in a day. Okay, he built this in a day. All this does is you upload your YouTube video, you give it a link, it analyzes your video and tells you where to make improvements, what to do, and how to edit it. Right? I think he's 19 years old. Right? So if we look at pricing, look what he's charging. So he's giving you 50% off if you sign up for an annual thing. Right. Again, you have no idea whether or not this is gonna work, remember? Like he just made it in a day. He's already got tons of testimonials. It tells you how different the world is now. When an 18-year-old can go build an app in a day, post it, connect it to his YouTube channel. He doesn't need to buy a domain anymore, right? Vercel will give you just a domain that's just, obviously in our world, crappy, right? He doesn't care because it's a free address. And he'll post it there. And if he gets just, let's say, 5 clicks a week, 10 clicks a week, which I'm sure that click that I just did probably shows up in his analytics, he's trying to convert, right? So who is his audience that he's converting? Press. It's other teenagers his age that are trying to go viral, right? Because they're gonna look at that and be like, that's so cool. Can I make that? You know what's ironic about AI coding? Is I can give that link to AI in Bolt cursor, and what do you think it'll do?
Upload it.
That's right. It'll literally make me the same thing like that. And I say, great. But don't make it look exactly the same, make it a different color. And put it in this language and change this and give it a funny logo. Did you have to do anything now? No. Do you even know how the app works? No. And that's what's so crazy about AI coding now is I can just give it the link, the cursor will go in, look at the code, build everything, copy it, and now you have your own version. So I'm only showing this because I'm noticing more and more accounts like this who have very high counts. I'm sure you guys have probably never heard of this guy. Oops. This is the wrong one.
How are you finding these people?
You know what's crazy is like I watch a lot of social media.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of social media, and I come across a lot of this stuff, right? So what am I looking for? Can you guess? What do I pay attention to?
Well, personal brands for sure, and something that makes them unique.
What makes him unique? Like you look at this stuff, what makes him unique? He's 18, by the way.
Looks like Justin Bieber and
Alright. What is his follower count?
pretty decent.
He's been doing this since he was a kid. He's been posting since he was like 6 years old, 7 years old, right? He's built up an audience his whole life. Does he need to go to college? Does he need to worry about a mortgage payment? No. Right? He can go buy himself a $10 million mansion right now if he wanted to, right? He makes a lot of money. So where does his website go? Where does it go?
It's music profile.
Exactly, right? He makes music. That's what he does. He's a musician, right? He's been on tour before, he does all this stuff. He does all his own marketing. Does he have a management team? Does he have an agent? Absolutely. Right? Because they sought him out and they said, hey, you've learned how to build an audience, you post consistently, you do all this stuff. He posts all the time, right? So this guy right here, who's only 18 years old, makes millions of dollars doing this stuff, right? His YouTube channel brings in 6 figures a month, probably, you know? Most people here would love that kind of money. And yet all you have to do is just post. That's it. That's all you have to do. And for him, he has built a very successful music career. He works with a lot of LA producers, a lot of music producers in Atlanta. He gets flown around the world all the time for tours and things like that. He lives a very comfortable life, right? But he had to earn it. And he did that because he loves his audience, right? So he's always posting. Again, you know, there's a lot more out there. Yeah. This is another one right here who he became a millionaire before he was 18. And all he does is teach you how basically Shopify, dropshipping, e-commerce systems work. That's it. That's all he does. If you go back into his history of videos, you'll see when he was really, really young, he shows you like, here's how much money it takes to do this. Here's how to do this kind of stuff. Like, let me show you how to build a store that makes this much money in this amount of time, right? And he'll walk you through an entire process of how to set up a store, how to do these kinds of things. And that's what he's known for, right? So he did this because he was poor when he was growing up. He hated it. He didn't want to be poor anymore. And he says, I'm going to learn how dropshipping works, and I want to learn how to make money using Shopify. And he just watched video after video after video after video after video, and he practiced and practiced and practiced. He's probably been through more than 200 e-commerce stores that he's gone through, right? That means there's over 200 domains that he's purchased and just practiced, right? How do I import items? How do I dropship them? How do I do this? And how do I make it viral? So now he has a custom built mansion. He drives very nice cars, and he still posts videos. Now we have AI do this, right? Look how old his videos are, you know? Now with AI, I don't know if you know this, but like Shopify has built an AI assistant. So what does that mean?
You can ask about, like you can ask for insights in the data. For example, if you're talking about the merchant dashboard.
I'm lazy. I needed to do work. Stop giving me work. What do I tell you?
To say what to improve. What to improve.
No. I need to think lazier.
Well, it's on etiquette, so it can't improve on its own.
I have this product from AliExpress. Build me a store for this product. That's it. That's it. You give it the link, it builds your store, it finds the color palette.
Shopify has that, so something like coding with Shopify?
No, it builds out the structure, right? Like it's not, you don't see the coding, right? Because Shopify is its own backend, right? But the AI agent can do that for you, right? It can adjust your store for you. Like, hey, I want to sell these items, you'll include these items. You give it the link for the item that you want, it incorporates it, it already puts all the details, it has the photos, it has the copy and all that stuff. And what do you have to do after that? Sell it. That's all you need to do. Market the item. Go push the link out. What can I do to do that? Run Google ads, I can put in my newsletter, I can do whatever. How long does that take?
Quite long to figure out the different marketing ways.
Do I need to worry about that, or do I just find the trending products that are going on right now? There's a difference between selling and there's a difference between viral selling. Right? So you know why I say that? Because look, this is the place on YouTube you don't pay attention to. I can't even play the video because there's no sound. Do you see the stuff, don't buy stuff from old people, AI? Do you see that video?
Mm-hmm.
Those videos are generated, those e-commerce stores are all generated with AI. Okay? So I'm gonna play it just to show you what these stores look like. So this store right here is by an old couple, and they're going out of business, and she makes these handbags, handcrafted handbags, right? And she's, retiring, and she wants you to purchase her last row of items that she's made. She has all these testimonials, all these things. Any problems with that? She doesn't exist. She's not real. It's a story. It's a fabricated story, right? So what happens when I go to Grace's store and I purchase Grace's handbag? What happens? It's dropshipped. It's not actually made by her. It's a dropship item that gets delivered to you, and you have your bag. Is that wrong? Oh, we have feelings now, right? But I made a lot of money.
Can you live with yourself though?
So this is why scammers are so good at what they do, right? Like, this is how scammers work now. They will launch these sites real fast, right? And they will put it up, they will go find these actors, like they're showing right now, and they will hire them to run all these ads, and then they will run other ads on top of it, and then they will populate, right? So that's what he's showing you right now. If you could hear sound, which would be wonderful, he's basically showing you how these scammers have built out an entire model system. And what they do is they run the store for like 3 or 4 or 5 days, right? And it makes 6, 7 figures. Okay? What happens on day 5 and 6? Yeah, you kill it. You get rid of the site. And you get rid of everything. Why do you do that?
Now you don't have to deal with customer service, returns, they can't track you, they can't
Right.
get reported.
Well, you're a scammer. You don't want to get caught.
Yeah.
Right? So everything gets trashed. Right? So it's all deleted, it's gone, there's nothing there, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens? You can't file a police report because it doesn't exist. You can't report anything because it doesn't exist. There's nothing there to report, right? So what happens Monday morning?
Do it all again.
You do it all again. Scammers clock into work, they run the store, next one's launched. And that's why you start to see here all these fake testimonials. And then as it keeps going, you have another layer behind that, right? And it just keeps going. It's a template, and that's how you run the business. But they're making a lot of money every single week. Why? Because they have a structure.